Good morning, my lovely peaches. How are
Mofo
you?
typos, yo.
It is
Typo.
December 14th, 2024. And honestly, the only reason I signed on to pop on and make this video is because I was just remembering earlier that back in the beginning of this year, I was obsessively making videos about the Adelson case, Justice for Dan Markell, who was murdered in 2014 in Tallahassee, Florida, and Charlie Adelson.
Charlie Adelson, a Ferrari-owning periodontist from South Florida, was convicted November 6 of first-degree murder, solicitation and conspiracy in the 2014 killing of his former brother-in-law, Florida State University law professor Daniel Markell. Markell was gunned down on July 18 while parking at his Tallahassee home.
So I believe that Wendy, who was Charlie's sister and Dan's ex-wife, that Wendy and Charlie and their mom Donna and probably their dad Harvey conspired and hired hitmen to kill Dan Markell. And she has gotten away with murder for a decade. I double checked. It was actually 2014, July 18th of 2014. 2013 is when they got divorced. Wendy and Dan got divorced. And then a year later, she had been desperately wanting to basically get full custody of their 3 and 4-year-old sons. And she wanted to relocate, although it was still Florida. Tallahassee is. So depending on which direction you're driving, it's somewhere from 7 to 9 hours. And of course, if there's traffic, which there very frequently is, and although a lot of the trip is kind of just, trees and stuff. So Wendy had testified that it was a treacherous drive. And then other people have made comments on videos or things like that where they said it's not really treacherous, it's just boring and long. It's very, very long. And Wendy didn't want to have to drive it anymore. She was sick and tired of it, even though every other week she would drive all the way from Tallahassee back down to Miami, spend the week there with her parents and her kids and some boyfriend she had, and then she'd go back up to Tallahassee, and she was fully capable of doing it on her own, even though her parents treated her like she was an infant and she couldn't do it. But she did, and she did it plenty. But she didn't want to have to do it anymore. She wanted to get rid of Dan once and for all, and in my opinion, that's exactly what she did. So she no longer had to do the drive, and she could just go to Miami for good, which is what she did. So Wendy had decided to leave Dan. They were divorced. She had moved out while he was away in New York at a conference, is when she moved out, took all the boys' clothing, furniture, everything, toys, left the marital bed and divorce papers. Okay, then, so what she had wanted and the court denied her was to be allowed to take the kids all the way from Tallahassee, where they lived, down back to Miami. And the court rightfully said, no, you cannot just relocate your children. And her thing was, well, he can commute. He can commute 9 hours. Oh, well, no, you know what? He can see his kids on the weekends. I will take the kids to Miami, where I'm going to raise them with my mom and my dad and my brothers down there. And they're going to have a much better life in Miami than in Tallahassee, where they have a big house, a loving father who's extremely attentive. And she didn't like that. She wanted the children all to herself. And she didn't want to have to deal with Dan, his schedule, his needs, his legal rights as their father, his religious preferences. And in my assessment, allegedly, Wendi Adelson conspired with her brother and her mother and probably her father to hire they actually hired Sigfredo Garcia to be a hitman, and then Sigfredo Garcia roped in his childhood friend Luis Riviera. Wait, I said it's Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera. There's Dan Markel, born October 9th, 1972 in Montreal, Quebec, and Canada. He died at only 41 years young. On July 19th, 2024, the midnight after he was shot in Tallahassee, Florida. Cause of death, a gunshot wound to the head. He was a Harvard University law professor. His spouse was Wendi Adelson, and they had 2 children. So I had forgotten for a second about Katie McBanawa. So Catherine McBanawa was Charlie Adelson's ex-girlfriend. So Charlie was Wendy's brother, and Katie McBanawa was Charlie's on again, off again girlfriend. And so at some point, Katie gets roped in as well to hire. Charlie asks her, do you know anybody who can... My ex-brother-in-law, he's a real pain in the ass. He's trying to take the kids, keep the kids, and we just need him out of here. And it just so happened that Katie McBanawa's on again, off again boyfriend, baby daddy, Sigfredo Garcia, happened to be willing to kill somebody for money. And then Sigfredo pulled in his friend Luis, who actually said, well, he had suggested, why don't we just rob this lady for her money? We don't need to kill anybody. But Sigfredo told Luis, no, the lady wants her kids back. We got to kill the guy. So Luis pled guilty to the charge of murder as part of a plea bargain in which he was sentenced 19 years in prison. I'm reading over my phone onto my computer, which would run concurrently with another sentence he was already serving. In his confession, Rivera claimed that Sigfredo Garcia had recruited Rivera to take part in the killing of Markel, and that Catherine McBanawa was, quote, the woman in the middle doing everything. Rivera also claimed that he did not know the names of the people who had hired Garcia and Catherine McBanawa. But that the reason for the killing was, quote, because the lady wants her 2 kids back. She wants full custody of the kids. The Adelsons denied any involvement, according to a statement issued by their lawyers, including Charlie's close friend Michael D. Weinstein, son of Wendy's godfather Peter Weinstein. Quote, none of the Adelsons, Wendi, her brother Charlie, or their parents Donna and Harvey had anything to do with Dan Markel's murder, which is an absolute fucking lie. And actually, Donna, the mother, is arrested, and her trial was set to begin in September 17th of 2024, but the proceedings were delayed when her attorney withdrew his representation of her on the first day of jury selection due to the fact that he was fucking corrupt, and he lied and said that he had a waiver for the conflict of interest from Charlie, which he didn't have, but Charlie revoked it anyway, which he could have even if it was in writing, which it wasn't. And in fact, certain things are just not waivable. So the whole trial had to be pushed back. It says no new date has been set yet for the trial to begin, but it's expected in late 2024, which ain't gonna happen because it's literally December 14th of 2024, or early 2025. However, Wendi has not been arrested at all. And when I made a video somewhere in the beginning of this year or the middle of this year, I had said, I'm holding out hope that they will not allow this woman to get away with murder, to continue to get away with murder It's been a decade. Those boys are now, they were 3 and 4. They're now like 14 and 15. Maybe they're even 16 and 17. I'm not sure exactly. But they have grown up being raised by the mother who, in my belief, allegedly hired somebody to kill their dad. And the whole reason I was making this video is to say, I effing give up. They are letting that woman walk. She's never going to be arrested, it seems, unless there's some kind of Christmas miracle. I just cannot believe that Wendy Adelson is getting away with murder. She's continuing to get away with murder. She's walking free. She's celebrating birthdays, Christmas, Hanukkah, holidays, whatever, bar mitzvahs, graduations, prom. All the while the man is dead and buried or cremated or whatever it is. This is, it's injustice. It's disgusting, and it's really gross, but and that's gonna fucking suck, and we know it sucks fucking.